I would like to take a tour of business finance, just to kind of get you familiar with the area that we're going to talk about, with the assignments, etc., and the tools that you can use to complete this course and other courses in at Thomas More. So the first page that opens, excuse me, will be the home page. And the first thing you'll recognize is there's a place or a link to Syllabus. When you click on the syllabus, again, the actual syllabus will be presented in this page format. And of course, you should read through that syllabus to kind of understand a little bit about what's going to happen in the class over the next couple of weeks. There's a section for course materials. Here's course materials. The textbook that we use in this class is The Principles of Finance by Chad Zutter and Scott Smart. In addition to that, there is a third-party software package that we'll be using. It's referred to as My Finance Lab. And of course, here are some instructions you need to read through here so that you can register for this software package. Once you've gotten to a certain point, you can come down here and there's a video. When you click on the video, you can follow that video and it will help you complete the registration process. We have assignments that will be due the very first week from this software package, so you need to be sure that you register as soon as possible. Let's go back to the home page. There are some frequently asked questions. Certainly as the courses develop, etc., these may expand. But if you have questions here, this basically refer to the functioning of this Canvas product. And again, if you have other questions, you can always call them. They're 24/7. You can either call them or chat with them. And they're very responsive and very helpful. So now let's think about the rest of the course, right? There is a section referred to as Start Here. And of course, as it says, we're going to start there. When you read down through this, for whatever courses you have, you're going to find that there's an instructor welcome. There'll be some videos there. This video will show up in this yellow box here. But each course that you take at Thomas More may have some additional things that you need to do to get ready for the course. Obviously, you want to read the syllabus, look for the course materials. You need to understand the technical requirements at Thomas More. But in this case, I also have a couple of things I like you to do as soon as possible. Number one is, let me know if you have the textbook and the software package. If you don't have that, we need to take immediate steps to make sure we have this package completed. In addition, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. So this discussion course introduction, when you click on that, again, I want you to tell me something about you, your major, your jobs, hobbies, sports. What do you hope to get from this class? And in the end, I guess, what do you hope to get from your journey through Thomas More? So again, these are just introductory assignments, if you will, to help us, excuse me, better understand each other and see where we're coming from, the different parts of our lives and our experiences that might be able to drive us, and quite frankly, give the instructors some information about you and maybe some extra things we might need to do to help you along your way here. There's something referred to as the Classroom Cafe. You use this forum if you want to talk to students in your class. I can read these things if I want to, right? So anything that you have that's more of a personal nature that you need to discuss to me, you do not want to use this. You're going to use the other link, which is the Ask Your Instructor link. And again, it's just a discussion kind of board. If you ask your instructor, your classmates will not be able to see your questions or our conversation. It will be, you can consider it private. And before we look at the links in general, I just want to let you, just a little sidebar, I guess, a little more information. These are the program outcomes for our business department. And these are the things that we would hope that business graduates from Thomas More should be able to do with the skill set that they should have. In addition, in this class, we have some course outcomes that obviously are listed here. We'd like you to be able to explain the basics of decision making, analyze risk and return, calculate value, explain the values, the models of capital structure and dividend policy, and then develop some tools for analyzing financial decisions. Throughout the course, we will have weekly learning outcomes that are developed to address these 5 course learning outcomes. And of course, each one of these course learning outcomes is tied to some program outcomes above. So let's look at week 1. Now, there's a couple of ways you can get into the course content. The first is you can open the homepage. It'll always open here. You can scroll down and click on this link for week 1, or you can click on the link on the left. And as you can see here, we have an introduction. It's going to talk a little bit about, before I go too far, you also have links to the Classroom Cafe and Ask Your Instructor. These will show up every week. The reading assignments for the week. Now, every week, there obviously, in this case, there are 2 chapters. Every week, you will also have some videos. There'll be a video, a lecture video, and a PowerPoint file for each chapter. So here's chapter 1. These are the lecture videos. They're broken into smaller parts so that they're not quite as long. You don't have to watch the entire, especially because this is a lecture on an entire chapter. The PowerPoint presentation follows this video, if you will. So there's 1 chapter, there's 2 chapters, so we follow down. Now each chapter, or each week, and chapter within that week, will also have some videos that are problem-solving types of videos. So they're going to help you solve the problems of the class and potentially help you understand how to complete some of the research assignments. Every week has a discussion board. The first week, the discussion board is on social responsibility in business. And every discussion board has the exact same prompts. You need to summarize the video. From that video, you need to develop 2 takeaways that are important or especially relevant to you. You also need to provide a description of why these are important, right? How do you think they can help you in your current or future career or just your personal life? You have to respond to at least 2 other classmates, and your responses should be of a substantive nature. Now, without getting into great detail here, essentially we want a complete answer. We want APA cited materials if you're using APA or using cited types of information. But very simply, a substantive answer is going to elicit more questions, right? You should be responding to a classmate, and you should talk about one of their takeaways, for instance, and then ask them or write this in a way that poses a question so that we can further think or add additional insight maybe into the topic area. The next sections of the assignments themselves. Every chapter will have a quiz, and every chapter will have a homework assignment. There is going to be research for almost every class. We're going to be exploring a specific company. So there's a Word document that you'll download this Word document. And once you download the document, you complete it. Again, I need you to type into the Word document, right? So writing it and then scanning it makes it difficult for the instructors to grade. So you need to have this completed within a reasonable amount of time so you're not pressured into having to write and scan. And of course, you will upload the document when you've completed it. So every week is going to look the exact same way with respect to the page. So we have 6 weeks of course. Now the next segment that we can look at is something called syllabus. And if you look at the syllabus page, this is really just a calendar of due dates. Obviously you can see the due dates here on the right. You can also, over here in your calendar, you should be able to also see when those due dates are. And of course, every week, the due dates are within that week period. The thing that I would caution you on is not to go to this course syllabus to find these assignments. The links to the assignments are at the bottom of the page for week 1 that we had just talked about, right? So don't access the assignments from here, because there is for some assignments there is documentation that you need to reference or utilize to complete those assignments. So for instance, there are some homework assignments that may have Excel worksheets that go along with them. So obviously you need to see where those worksheets are, and those worksheets are going to be found under these week assignments. For instance, if we go to week 2, this is really when we start the Excel work. As you scroll down past the chapters, let this continue to load. Here's the risk and return stuff. As you see down here are files. So for Chapter 5, there's a worksheet, and then there are videos that address solving these kinds of problems. So this video is going to help you solve time value of money, future value questions. And again, there are several for time value of money. These are very short videos, but they go through the process of adding a little bit more help or instruction on what the problem-solving process is all about. If we look at My Lab and Mastering, this is how you're going to register for the course. And once you register for the course, you should never have to use this link again, unless you want to go to the course, and I think I'll be able to do this. If you go to the course home, I think this is set up. I hope it's set up. So you go to the course home, you can come in here and you can find things that might be helpful. You can find an e-text. So if you're traveling, etc., you can just come here, click on this link, and it will take you to the e-text. Some of these other things you won't be able to see, and they won't be important. Again, you see more of the things that are there than what you'll actually see in the class, since this is actually my site that we're looking at. So now if we can, again, go back, if we go down to the next link, then next thing, we talked about syllabus already. There's obviously a place where you can go and find your grades. Those grades functions, obviously, this is my grade book, but you'll be able to see, in fact, let me, real quick, it won't take but a second. Let's go up here and let's change this to view as a student. And that might be, especially for this one site, it might be a little bit more helpful. If we go to grades, again, it will list all the grades and their due date. It will tell you what your score is. Over here to the right, it also gives you the weighting scheme for the course. And again, one of the things I want to let you know is that the grade that you see is calculated based only on graded assignments, right? So if you've done 5 assignments, I've only graded 4 of them, then the grade that you see for this class is only based on the 4. Likewise, if you've missed some assignments, until I convert them to zeros, you might be misled about what your actual grade in the class is, right? So again, you can also make some adjustments and do some what-if questions here. The next thing we want to kind of talk about is something called conferences. If you would like to have a conference with a classmate, you can click on here, and obviously it'll take you to back to that site. And now I got to make sure I got to go back to the dashboard. Sorry, I didn't want to go there. So let me leave the student view because it's only important for that one for grades. Oh, excuse me, I went back too far. So now we're going to go down. Let's talk about conferences. If you want to have a conference with another student, or if we want to do a conference personally, if we want to do one with the whole class, this is where you will go to find the conferences. And if you want to record them when you start the conference, when you open this, you can click a button and it will allow you to record. If you want to collaborate with other students and talk with them, you need to figure out a little bit more how to use this function. We don't have time to cover it right here. There's also a chat function. When you click on the chat function, it'll tell you how many people are online, right? So right now, apparently, I'm the only one online, so I don't want to chat with myself. You can find out people in your class. I believe you can link on this, and it will give you some information about them. You can obviously, we already talked about grades. Library resources. Hopefully you're familiar with library resources. You can come out here obviously to find information that you might want to research, etc. eCampus sends you to the book rental company if you need to look for things. Office 365 allows you from anywhere to link into Office 365 for Excel, PowerPoint, etc. There is a link to tutoring, right? So if you need some help with what's referred to as smart thinking online tutoring, that's where you can find that. And also you can go to course evaluation to essentially when the class is over, you go there to evaluate the class. These things down here you won't be able to see as a student. So again, we have a pretty detailed, I think, tour of Canvas and the course itself. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to working with you in your class.